And we're back.
Yes.
Oh, Flash.
Welcome to Disney Channel.
Can you
draw the thing?
Which thing?
Dun, 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 dun. That's gonna be the word. We want to have the animator. No, the Disney Channel like ears.
Oh. I don't know how to do that.
Use the one. We'll have an animator animate. That's the worst Disney Channel ears. Let's see. I'll try better. You'll go next, and then we'll see who did the best. Dun 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 dun.
Was that was that Mickey?
Yeah, it's the Mickey Mouse ears.
I don't know the Mickey.
You've never seen Disney Channel
I
thing?
know what Mickey Mouse looks like. Okay, we're doing up. Mickey Mouse, like that.
Yes.
Okay, did I do it?
Yes.
I actually don't know what it looks like.
Okay. The thing that I told Cody, and he wasn't sure if you had heard too, was, but I think I told you. I went to India.
Mhm.
I was gonna start my startup college.
Yeah.
So I rented like a school building, and I was gonna hire people to build their startups. Because then I was like, what's even cooler than telling the story? Like, we can do all this fun stuff, but we need a base layer of just people building insanely cool ideas. So just attract the coolest talent, the Elons of India, who are so ripe and ready to come work because they want to work for American companies so bad.
Yeah.
And there's zero Americans out there. I'm a celebrity on the street. All Americans are like seen as, right?
God,
My
yes.
guest is my God is the thing that they say. And then like, yeah, we just stand out. It's like the British guy here.
Well,
You know how we
especially
think
when
of
you're,
British guys as cool?
Yeah.
Because they just have an accent? You're like 10x that.
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
it's opposite racism. So that also meant that when I sent a photo to the person who is the owner or controller of this like recreation center, he was like, oh wow. It was enough for him to show the owner of that recreation center, who also owns this group of 48 different schools. Started his first university when he was only 23 years old.
Whoa.
He gave me a book, I'll gift it to you if you want to read it, called Edu-Nation.
Yeah.
So good, so based. And I read that in a day, and I came back to him with a website and like a fully built app for his school.
That's
Because I was
amazing.
like, I should just build my thing directly into his existing college.
And-
Why am I renting a thing and trying to do this and getting infrastructure and stuff? And he's down. And that's, you saw the like 1 million square foot campus then. They have this second new campus that they just built, which is like 1 million square feet. And then like the second week I went to a hackathon there. There were 500 hackers building crazy shit, so focused. The main prize was $500. And
Whoa.
people came in from around India through the trains for this thing.
That's wild. Yeah.
Then the deal that I got was January that all of the tech students at one of the universities would start and become entrepreneurs, founders, to build like cool stuff. So there's 800 founders who will do 6 months. Now the main, so like in the school, and this can expand to more of the schools across India, is this whole, it's what is necessary in the world is more founders for all of these ideas. People who can just take one idea and devote their life to it. And we at least get 6 months of time when they're doing it inside of their school ecosystem rather than there being any capital output. And at the end of this, that's when like it'll be obvious who to bet on, but the bets won't be like normal VC stuff where you have to give them X amount of stuff. So that doesn't really exist out there. They have 5 times of the STEM graduates, 30 times less venture capital. They're just happy if we say continue building, here's $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
They might be producing more than that already, you know? So super hyper scalable system of idea manifestation.
Wow.
Idea
This
flow
is
to execution.
amazing. Oh my gosh.
That resonates.
Exciting. Yeah.
That
deeply.
resonates a lot, and here's an interesting reason why it resonates that you might not expect, which is, while I was at MIT, I felt like there wasn't a sufficient sort of red carpet for people wanting to do entrepreneurial stuff, even at MIT, which is a surprise, right?
Right.
And
Red carpet is a great way to put it.
Yeah, and I wanted to like roll out a red carpet that makes it really easy to go be an entrepreneur and to like go become an investment banker, because like, I mean, yeah, my biggest
As
like,
easy as it is to become an investment.
exactly, or like go get a job at a big company. There's like a really
You get a salary.
exactly
It's a de-risked life path.
exactly,
But the most valuable life path for the self
Right.
and for the world
exactly
is
not that.
yes. I was so confused when I was young why no one would give me minimum wage. Take however much percent of my thing, I don't care. Because my only other option is to cut bread or serve sandwiches at some fast food restaurant. I'm still smart. I'm young. Teal Fellowship proved this big time. Bet big on young people. But the red carpet's still not there.
Right, and the red carpet got slightly better in the last several years.
Yeah,
but it's not
at these main colleges.
But it's not even that much better.
Right.
And it's not even that much. I mean, it's and only at these main colleges. Agreed.
Right.
And so the same problem is still transitive. But like, what was also interesting is there's this quality of like entrepreneurial entrepreneurial energy and entrepreneurial confidence that I think is underrated, which is something that like you have endogenously or something, Jack, which is hilarious and amazing. And you know, you just have like whatever the actual source of the whole thing is. So you don't need the infusion of it from a cultural zeitgeist or what have you, as much as some folks do. But I
do need that. That's a great cultural zeitgeist.
Right. And one thing that was impactful to me was to spend some time with some mentors from Silicon Valley while I was at MIT.
Right.
Which at the time was a much more hustly, like get stuff done, build things culture versus like let's go like theoretically design the thing culture. And it's not that MIT didn't build things. It's like build things that will get to market and see product fit. Whereas like the baseline at MIT at the time was a little bit more like the people who built stuff and built product were a little bit like in a corner, and they weren't like given that much academic respect because it's like, you know, it's not theoretically difficult. Like why is it even interesting to you? It's like, oh, it's beneath you almost. But in that same attitude, there's like a missing of a certain vitality that comes with just like iterating stuff and shipping things and building tools. And ironically, I think that there is the phrase that at the same time was used for doing your homework is tooling. You can hack, you can punt, and you can tool at MIT. Hacking means like building your own fun stuff. Punting means like putting everything off and doing something else. Right. And tooling means like doing your homework. So funnily enough, doing your homework is tooling. But what was oddly enough missing, despite all this, was I would say like tool making and like the ethos of building an Iron Man suit for your brain, where we're digging ourselves out of the pit of non-productivity and the pit of like non-clarity of our minds was not as like prevalent as it could be in any of these environments. And that's interesting because it's where in tools for thought in general is where sort of product design and the West Coast hustling vibe meets the let's go like do something deep and intelligent vibe. And that's where I'm like really optimistic in a transhumanist way about being like, how can we make ourselves more than we would initially? How do we make tools to do that? And some of those tools are external tools, and some of those tools are internal tools, more or less, where it's like you do things that change the way that thoughts move in your head, and that's what meditation practices are partly about.
And how do we build a cultural zeitgeist of the understanding that we as humans can dream together, that we're only limited by how high we dream, that we can collaborate? Such a missing mark. Such a missing mark also, and a meta mark to make, is that simply by doing so via the camera and showing it happening, it happens. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy that simply needs belief. And what a gift. I look at this and I look at it and I go, this is too good. This is so amazing. I just have to be so grateful for like, that's an opportunity. I've been imagining, and I think so many spiritual people and great thinkers have been imagining their conquest, their highest conquest, for a long time. And I think there's an odd amount of different things that have happened in our lives to bring us towards these ideas that we've shared. And I want to share something really crazy about meeting Jacob, which is that I was on a boat. It was crazy that I was even at this event. There's a whole lead up that's a good story too. But we never really talked. But you decided to stay with me while I did DMT on this boat, while everyone went off to go like to another island. And like I think you held my hand while I ripped it. It's very sweet. You have great energy. I knew nothing about you. But like after I sat there and I had all my thoughts and all of my downloads, I was like, we need to bring Maitreya back. That's what I told him. And this is such an esoteric thing. Most people, the vast majority of people, when I say Maitreya to, I then have to explain what that is. And this was my expectation internally. Little did I know, not only has this man understood what Maitreya is, not only has he thought about bringing it back, but he has gone to Bodhivistas that exist and asked them about if it could come back. Bodhisattvas.
Yeah. I think Bodhivistas, but Bodhisattvas and Bodhivistas.
Great, yeah.
we're Bodhisattvas.
Bodhisattvas, yeah, it's beautiful. We're all Bodhisattvas too.
And yes, you had that. Yeah. And then the more that we have continued to explore the depths of our minds, the more it's been weirdly, like I just found one of the sites that was a little bit deeper. That's right. It wasn't like in the main links. Yeah. But a little bit deeper one was systemic change. And I just have filed this systemic altruism website. Yeah. Like 6 months ago, which really means the same exact thing.
Beautiful.
I think we're both in the top 0.00001% of people in domains or live websites.
Yeah.
That have
I think so.
ideas and content. So it's like there's definitely like synchronous cities that are happening. I think it's inevitable that if we continue to record ourselves and put our power together, that we build a synchronous city.
That's right.
That spans the globe.
That's what George was literally telling me about at Burning Man, is he wants to build a city that optimizes for synchronicities.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's what Burning Man is, you know?
I know.
Like, but that's what Burning Man was pre-cell phone, because you had to rely solely on the coconut wire.
Think about about this.
Yeah.
Think about, so how could that manifest? Well, one amazing thing that I love about, as a baseline here, because I want to add a layer to the dream, a base layer to all of these ideas and these things, is truly the story, right? It's just trying to make these things happen and doing it and being bold. That is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because attention creates things and manifests them. And we have all the people we ever need to know. Like, it's just having some sort of spear rituals forming. And what's really cool that came to mind in this idea of like a synchronous city is, first off, I still love the idea of, if we're really going to tell a story and all these ideas are going to come to light, like, we just need people. We need really, really good people around us all the time, ready to help us manifest ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know that in India, that is not expensive. To get a massive warehouse, a 3D blank canvas for the story to start as a seed, and then every day for that to expand into a bigger story and a narrative that the world tunes into, and more people helping to build that dream.
Interesting.
And what could be fun is that actually what's interesting about how India's apartments are laid out is that they're called societies. And so I had made this website called effectivesociety.org, and I saw it on my suitcase. It says, join our effective society. And this is sort of like an idea that all the people who think this way should coagulate, should somewhat like get a warehouse. There should be a warehouse near every university where the entrepreneurs start to build their mini, residency, entrepreneurship classes and stuff, and just dream the future that coagulates to this much bigger vision for the world, that where we can all dream together. And to imagine this and some collective tool software, what could actually happen is that while you're conversating, you could have some form of signal or it requesting you to move, and the city could be interconnected by software, by AI, and it could maximize synchronicity.
Exactly.
You actually can build synchronicity, and it could start in a smaller form of smaller groups, and it could be a part of like how do you make that actually also build towards the bigger narrative? One super cool thing to do is with all this like idea flow, hook. I just thought of this right now, but it's like many different ideas I've had. Get the warehouse, section it off into like 50 different stations. Founder boot camp. Every founder has idea flow in their pocket, connected to an executive assistant that helps them execute and do things. And it's a content thing. We run the warehouse. It's like a Mr. Beast vibe. They're building 50 of like the coolest ideas. And then, so it's advertising for the idea flow itself. It's advertising for this. And then their idea flow apps are synced into a bigger thing, and it tells them who to meet at certain times. So we could have a mini synchronous city actually happen.
This is really, really fantastic. I mean, just like 3 sparks on that. Firstly, if you made one of these societies in a warehouse and you got everyone to meditate, would it be a warehouse?
How long have you been holding on to that?
At least 2 minutes.
Very cute. Yeah, at least 2 minutes. That's very cute.
But yeah, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, secondly...
That's so good, bro.
Yeah, and I mean, what I think this
We are the warehouse.
That's right, a warehouse. That could be a name of
So
a
good.
group house in SF or something. Is a warehouse, and it would be like one of these warehomes where they take warehouse and repurpose it.
Yes.
But you could call it a warehouse.
It should be.
But anyway, the second thing was...
Built in India.
What's that?
He said build it in India.
Yeah.
As cheap as can be.
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, I forgot secondly, but thirdly, Tim Draper and I were discussing at one point, he's one of our investors, a vision for how the future of corporations could look.
Right.
Because corporations are kind of mini societies, but corporations are just like, they pale in comparison to what you're describing here. But one thing could transfer, which is Tim Draper is like, yo, so here's an idea. You have people keeping their lists of ideas, and of course, confidentiality is important, but like you have semi-public or public versions of these ideas that you share with the company and in some kind of personal idea stream. But like, what does that go? What does that turn into? How does that become action? Tim Draper's like, yo, you need to make a bot that will literally just schedule people calendar invites, show up at this conference room at this time,
Right.
and it automatically runs based on people who the AI has thought have similar ideas.
Right.
And then it puts them together and it has them meet in a particular conference room.
We could actually ship this and use it for the 800 founders in order to find their co-founders.
Exactly.
To
And
start
so that's how you build that kind of thing.
inside of a war room, the university in India is repurposing this hostel, the entire basement, into like this whole incubation center, which is like can totally utilize that.
And I mean, I think another, and on the more posh end of it, HF0, like the
Right.
startup group has a house and they put the people together and have founders. So last thing to close this up is, yeah, I really like what you said about the vision for I like the word society. I like the vision of like, what would the world of tomorrow look like in some capacity? What does a world of acting like a hive mind really look like? And having, what does a hive mind look like? And I think having like everyone in the organization with an idea flow in their pocket is like a starting point, and having like some of the more collaborative second step intentions here is an important one. I mean, being able to go ahead.
I was thinking there's a tangential idea I've had of sorting information. Obviously, the world sorts all of its information that happens in the global nervous system today through a filter that optimizes for bottom of the brainstem. So we optimize for controversy and lower vibrational state. We have misaligned AI today, right? This is not a future problem. Transformational AI is here, and it's misaligned.
I like the phrase transformational AI.
Right.
That's not a phrase I've heard before.
That's actually a phrase that people use to talk about a future thing. But this is a lack of people's awareness
Of
that
what's happening
AI is
now.
transformational already.
Yeah.
And that our global nervous system on how what we care about is being facilitated by a misaligned AI. And so, you know, we have godlike technology, Paleolithic institutions, and ape-like minds. So we're already being controlled more than we think. We like to think that we're far away from cattle, but we're likely closer on the when you look at the bigger consciousness spectrum of potential, especially with adding in AI's intelligence. So, but we're still cattle who can control the farm. So let's make the farm good for us, baby. So, there's so many good ideas. So, remind me where I was. There was misaligned AI.
Yeah.
But where were you right before that? That led me to it.
Oh, it was just about the experimental society with like everyone has idea flows in their pocket.
Right.
They're sharing ideas at like lightning speed, etc. etc. There's a whole. So I got a whole shtick on this.
Right.
We can pick that up.
So
later.
obviously, I have the version of the anti-TikTok or the opposite of TikTok.
Yes.
Already made out, fleshed out. Right. It works. I'm watching my daily videos. It just needs more attention in order for the feed to upgrade itself. So the next part is storytelling, of course. The other part is how would this look on an image level or a text level? And when thinking about it on the text level, like if all people are trying to say the best phrases, what if there's like some sort of competition for the best phrase? How could you like actually sort that or grade it? You could actually do some challenges where Flow, the AI, gives ratings of 0 to 1,000 to all these different things. And so this could be
fascinating.
Today, quite easily, the ability to ship that. And as long as like this is something that I think really shows the capabilities of Idea Flow, and then has it have the capability to access more enterprises and stuff like with some of these bigger tangential ideas, is showing it in its collaborative effect with some sort of team space. I think the storytelling, it's such a fractal in so many ways. And I think like when we're looking at systemic goals and systemic change, when we do systemic change once and tell the story of and showing it happening, it's so much hope. And I think it can literally evolve into being the most important story in the world. Like I say that truthfully.
Yeah.
And it's mind-boggling, but it's also, even if not true, going to help platform the better story, you know? It's definitely max karma. And I'll show you in my chart. This can be the finish. I once had made my main quest thing, and I showed two charts, and one said maximize impact, and one said have the most fun. And these were two separate things. And then I realized that these things actually overlap. In the middle of it was like a warehouse plus content team. So we're just fucking vibing, ripping projects, code's getting shipped, there's tons of team members around, and it's like this is Napoleon in the modern day age, but we're not conquering nations, we're conquering corruption. And the world gets to see that strength. Like it's amazing the amount of people you can bring together through, especially, international and third world places. It's amazing how strong they are and smart they are, and the world should see that too. And
it should be as big as online gaming, as effortless and as massively collaborative and meritocratic.
Yes, it'll bring a whole new level to something that one would call a Twitch stream, where there's a collaborative effort, that the army is not just watching.
You're helping with the quest.
Yes.
What if you could be Twitch
So, like,
streaming a game and
with
then have like
with Workplete, we can actually record all the actions we want to happen from a user and send that to their Workplete extension, and it will auto do it from theirs. Nice. So if we wanted them to go follow this thing, tweet this thing, and do that, we wouldn't need to ask them to do it. We would need to ask them to click run.
Right. What I like is, are there any people who are trying to beat difficult video games like World of Warcraft quests, and they have their Twitch streamers help them out?
There was this one. There was something called Twitch Plays Pokemon, where they linked up the mapping of the chat with the typing that was coming in order to control an emulator.
I see. Interesting.
So that was quite interesting.
I like
But
that.
I've
But
already
I want to see
scoped
massive
out this.
collaborative
I
efforts.
called
that are
it
successful.
Moon Mission Control Center.
Yeah.
And it was this aspect of it would be a live stream, and AI would be able to see everyone's feed, so it'd be able to grade and report on
Yeah.
who's getting the stuff done, and it could be like a last one standing
Yeah.
game, similar to these Minecraft games that Mr. Beast does. The difference between Mr. Beast and this kind of team is the fact that that's in the virtual world, and we're doing shit in the real world.
Amazing. Well, this is a great sync. We're gonna figure it out very soon.
I'm too sleepy to comment, but that was wonderful.
What
That's
an
a
epic
comment.
transition.
Huh?
That's a comment.
That is, I suppose.
Too sleepy to have as amazing as a comment as you normally
Would be
would.
capable of
Right.
accomplishing the offering. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Perfect.
To be continued.
Beautiful.